Donald Trump offers constructive criticism to federal employees who disagree with him. Oh, no, sorry, I read that wrong. He fires them. My bad. This is just another day. Just because Donald Trump has militarized the streets of Washington, that doesn't mean all is quiet in D.C.
This morning, a stunning standoff at America's leading public health agency. The head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Susan Menarez, refusing to leave as the White House tries to fire her amid an overnight wave of high-profile departures at the agency. It comes less than a month after Menarez, a Trump appointee, was confirmed for the job.
Less than a month? That means she doesn't even qualify for this award. What the hell is going on?
The Department of Health and Human Services announced Menarez was no longer CDC director yesterday. But Menarez's lawyers initially said she was not told she was fired and would not resign, adding she chose protecting the public over serving a political agenda. For that, she has been targeted. Overnight, a White House spokesman saying because Menarez refused to resign, the White House has terminated her from her position.
Wait, so Susan Menarez was out, but then not, but then really is? I think I see what's happening here. The White House can see that they're losing the public, so they had to create a will they, won't they storyline to keep people engaged. This is their Ross and Rachel. Except instead of it being a fun, years-long romance, it's an executive branch abandoning science, eroding the public's trust, and overstepping their authority. But other than that, exactly the same. And while the news of Menarez's filing may have been met with some praise by some of Trump's minions on the right, things were a little different outside of CDC headquarters in Atlanta.
We want to take you now to Atlanta, where employees at the Centers for Disease Control are staging what they're describing as a clap-out. It's an apparent protest following the news that the White House is attempting to fire CDC Director Susan Menarez.
First off, good on you for standing up to this administration's actions. But while I'm hesitant to tell you how to brand your protests outside the CDC, I think calling it a clap-out might confuse some of the folks inside. Let's just hope they're not using the phrase, "this time you've gonorrhea too far." But hey, it's just the head of the CDC. No big deal, am I right?
We also saw 4 other CDC officials resigned along with this. And so one of them, the head of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, posting his resignation letter on X, saying that he's unable to serve in an environment where CDC is used as a tool to generate policies and materials that do not reflect reality and are designed to hurt rather than improve the public health.
Come on, does this country really need to listen to the whiny ramblings from some dude in the wing of the CDC that's barely even applicable, like the, head of the vaccine unit? Call me when the head of the hand brews division weighs in, then I'll listen. Well, at today's press briefing, the clash between Menarez and Trump was front and center, with reporters asking for a person that Trump himself called
dedicated public servant who will prioritize accountability, high standards, and disease prevention.
Right. That. For someone Trump described that way, why exactly is she being let go?
Her lawyer's statement made it abundantly clear themselves that she was not aligned with the president's mission to make America healthy again. And the secretary asked her to resign. She said she would, and then she said she wouldn't, so the president fired her, which he has every right to do. It was President Trump who was overwhelmingly reelected on November 5th. This woman has never received a vote in her life.
Ooh, sorry to stop you there, but she actually has received a vote in her life. 51, to be exact, from your party, when she was confirmed by the Senate, which you control. Looks like someone needs to add another dollar to the lie jar. Pretty soon, Carolyn Levitt might have enough money to buy her own private island, like that one her boss knows absolutely nothing about and has no clue what went on there. But if you thought the CDC was the only place this administration was going to pick a fight with, you haven't been following the news at all. Picking fights is like their thing.
A standoff is brewing between President Trump and economist Lisa Cook. Trump tried to fire her Monday, claiming there is sufficient cause to believe that Cook made false statements on one or more mortgage agreements. Cook fired back that President Trump has no authority to remove her from the independent Federal Reserve Board and vowed to file suit.
We need people that are 100% above board, and it doesn't seem like she was.
100% above board? You've got a bear carcass trafficking vaccine skeptic as head of HHS, a Secretary of Defense who messaged national security to his family text chain and was accused of sexual assault and drinking on the job, and your head of Homeland Security went full John Wilkes Booth on her own pooch. So please spare us the not above board excuse. It's kind of crazy that I seem to be the only one asking this about Trump, but can he do this?
Can he do this?
Touché.
Well, John, the Supreme Court actually just affirmed in May that the president can only fire a Fed board member for cause, in other words, for misconduct on the job. And Cook's lawyers are arguing that in this case there is no cause because she hasn't been charged or convicted for anything, and the mortgage records in question are from 2021 before she was even appointed. Tonight, both the Fed and the president say they're going to abide by whatever the courts decide.
The president will abide by whatever the courts decide. You know what? I think it's time to go from lie jar to lie shipping container. Donald Trump's attack on the first black woman to serve as Fed governor, who has not been convicted of a crime, is just the next iteration of his pressure campaign on an independent Fed to lower rates, but moreover, on anyone who doesn't bow down to his demands. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe race had absolutely nothing to do with Lisa Cook being fired.
She's a partisan animal who weaponized the Federal Reserve. It was a terrible hire. It was a DEI hire. She's not qualified.
You know what? It is so sad how people constantly accuse this White House of being racist when all they're guilty of is calling black people animals, ordering the Pentagon to remove books about diversity, and tweeting about how our museums need to stop talking about how bad slavery was. The reality is, this administration wants Lisa Cook to go quietly. They want Susan Monterez to go quietly, because not only will they be able to replace them with people who happily bend over backwards to do their bidding, but quiet resignations and an acceptance that resistance is futile is the narrative they desperately want to solidify. Lisa Cook and Susan Monterez are Chicago and Los Angeles. They are Harvard University. They are the law firm Perkins Coie. These people and places and institutions understand that Donald Trump is not looking for a partner in democracy, despite what his Pope-slang VP might have said today.
The President of the United States is not going out there forcing this on anybody, though we do think that we have the legal right to clean up America's streets if we want to. But what the President has said is very simply is, why don't you invite us in?
Exactly. Trump isn't forcing himself in anywhere. He's simply asking for an invite. And if people don't want to extend that level of courtesy, he's so cool. He'll just get back in his car, head back home, and withhold disaster relief from their state and eventually barge in anyway. See? No big deal. There is nothing laid back about a man who wakes up every morning with the implicit goal of achieving total fealty. And when that's what someone demands, when they view themselves as all-powerful, having a good faith negotiation with them is impossible. It's like sitting down with Thanos and thinking, I'm getting a vibe that this guy is ready to make a few concessions through healthy yet persuasive dialogue. It's not happening. Lisa Cook and Susan Monterez's efforts to stand up and push back are just another example of the war that needs to be waged against not just a president, but an administration and an entire political party that seems more than comfortable to not only allow these egregious actions to take place, but to cheer them on and lend a helping hand in any way they know how. It's time to stand up, fight back, and tell the world that Donald Trump has gonorrhea too far. Nope, still sounds weird. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.